Had a lovely meal. Mine was lovely anyway. Somebody on our table asked for an extra dinner, which is incredible. Captain, make sure you charge them twice. We'd just like to introduce our guest this afternoon. He has played over 500 appearances in England. 215 of those were in the Premier League. He's managed QPR and Ipswich among others, and has had 52 caps for Northern Ireland, as well as currently being the Northern Ireland under-21 manager. Give a big round of applause for Jim Magilton.
On. I wish you'd have left the under-21 out of that, please.
By the way, when was the last time you read your Wikipedia page?
Pardon?
Have you ever read your Wikipedia page?
Never. Yes. I have one.
I done all the research on Wikipedia, this will be new to him. And I didn't realise you were that big, so I may have to change some of these questions.
Yeah. I could get bigger.
You're also a bit close. I mentioned there that you had 52 appearances for Northern Ireland, which is a phenomenal amount at international level. We'll take you back to 1990, you're playing at Oxford United, 19-year-old lad from West Belfast, and you get the call up for Northern Ireland. I mean, for yourself, can you tell us how it felt at that time when you realised you weren't good enough to play for Ireland? Too early?
It is a bit early, but listen, I did turn it down, so there you go.
You turned what down? By the way,
can I look in your Wikipedia page too? Let's compare.
Yes.
So let's have a look. Okay.
I'll tell you, mate. I rang Jim last week and said, Jim, what way do you want to do this? Do you want to do a Q&A? Or do you want to talk? He says, no, just do a Q&A. I talk for Ireland. I says, Jim, you mind what side your bread's buttered on? You talk for Northern Ireland, son.
I said Londonderry.
Londonderry, that's what you said. So you also, jumping aside, did you ever get any grief? You were from Lenadune, are you?
Yeah.
Well, not for being from Lenadune, obviously you get grief for saying Lenadune. But did you ever get any grief for playing for Northern Ireland at home? How did that go?
No, I didn't. I had people that went before me, so it was easy enough. It was an easy enough decision, and at the time, Mal Donaghy was in the team, Anton Logan was in around the setup, so it was a no-brainer. So they looked after me, and at that stage, Billy Bingham was the manager. It was still a team full of international, full experienced international. So it was a great setup, and it was a great learning curve for me and a great apprenticeship, and I enjoyed it immensely. The early years with Billy was huge for me.
Yeah, he was probably the first Northern Ireland manager I remember. I always find it's always easier to be a turncoat when someone else has done it before you myself. When you were playing when you were a youngster, obviously, you also did get grief. We talked about it earlier. You got a bit of grief from Roy Keane in his book. What was that about? How did that come about, and how did you deal with it?
Quite easily. I told him where to go, but it was he was a rookie manager like myself, and I had agreed to take a player. And that day in training, we had a derby. It was my first East Anglian derby as manager, and our goalkeeper got injured. So thinking Roy would be on my side, thinking, we played against each other many times, or I'd followed him around many times. But I thought it was an easy call to make. So again, everything had been in place for this player to come. Couldn't do the deal. Spoke to Niall Quinn, he was the chairman at the time. He went, give Roy a call, be no problem, Jim. Roy, how are you? Yeah, Jim, listen, I can't take Tommy at this stage. I've got to get a goal. I always knew you were an absolute effing this and effing that, and you've let me down, you're this, you're that. And I went, Roy, please, honestly, you've got to understand, I've got a real problem with keeper. It's my first derby. Derby, you don't call them derbies, that's not a derby. East Anglian derby. You're joking me, it's handbags, blah, blah, blah. And I went, Roy, do me a favour, fuck off.
And you never seen him again since, or?
Yeah, we've had our paths have crossed, but no, there hasn't been much conversation. He hasn't asked about my missus or kids, or the thing we have in common is we've 2 Labradors. I have a lab. I've called it Mad Dog.
Yeah. Has John Terry ever asked about your wife and kids? I hope not. when you were as a kid here, obviously you played for Plunkett and played many years of Plunkett under the great Jackie Maxwell. How did your move to Liverpool in 1988 come about?
It was my early days were St Oliver Plunkett, living up in Lenadoon. The club was huge there. I had a great affiliation with all the local kids in that area, and Jackie was a tremendous man, tremendous character. My earliest influences, I was spoiled. I was very, very lucky. I had Jackie, then I went to the Whites under Roy Welch, and Arthur Brady, the late great Arthur Brady, was involved with the club. He invited me in. And then again, the late great Jimmy McAlinden came up and watched the Distillery youth team at that stage. Jim McFadden, Damien Grant, Tommy McDonald, all great lads, Stephen Wade, Kieran O'Hare, great say. And I was a couple of years younger than them. And Jimmy came, watched the games, and Arthur, both of them decided, right, we're going to make a phone call to Liverpool. Jeff Twentyman, again synonymous with the club in terms of scouting, came and said, yeah, we like the look of him, and off I went. Jimmy came to the house Friday night. I remember him coming to my dad, and Jimmy was a great fight man as well. Took me to watch McGuigan and Laporte, the fight before McGuigan fought Pedosa for the world title. And my first experience again, big crowd, magnificent night, loved it. McAlinden actually brought me to Cliftonville Cricket Club, introduced to the golf club, introduced me to golf for the first time. So young kid, bunkers from Lenadoon meant totally different, something totally different. So all in all, the experience in Northern Ireland, certainly around those fantastic people, enabled me to go into Liverpool with 20 man, and then the rest is history to a large extent, because I went over, obviously impressed to a point where I signed, and I was again very, very lucky. Kenny Dalglish's first season as player manager, so I walked into that environment, winning every week, being around top class players, being around that winning mentality, and again, as apprenticeships goes, it was a pretty good one for me.
Superb, was it? Jim McFadden went on to play for the Reds?
Yeah.
You played in that Distillery,
I did.
You said? Fantastic.
Yeah, I know McFadden well.
His brother was here last time we were here. Would you encourage people, young kids now, based on your experience in 88 and going to Liverpool, you were well schooled there, and we'll talk about how you moved on from there, but would you encourage kids at that age to move across, or would you encourage them to move across earlier? Where do you stand now with it?
I think it's worrying because it's their resilience levels. I believe is lessened. I think there's more distractions. Social media plays a huge part in all our lives, I suppose. But telephones, airlines. The airline. I think it was Go, and it went pretty quickly. So it was replaced by EasyJet and whatever. So the means of getting across now and the exposure that kids receive now is tremendous. I don't question that for 1 second, but I think setbacks now, they kind of way throw the towel in. It's not as if they want to roll up their sleeves and they want to come back at people. My first manager at Liverpool was Phil Thompson, and he was dyed in the wool red, and he was pretty aggressive, and he was pretty much in your face. And at Liverpool in the reserves, you had to win every game. So, and him and I had a pretty tumultuous relationship, and I'm not that shy, nor is he. So I was kept in the reserves from 18, so he would come to me, and so I'm not sure if kids have that now, and I think we mollycoddle them a little bit too much. We towards the end of my managerial career, especially around the QPR situation, it was instant reward, instant success, instant gratification, no real longevity, no loyalty. It was, now, not what happens after. There was no real determination to go out and practice. I'm sure the majority of people in this room, a brick wall was enough for us. Kids now want astroturf pitch, kids want bowling greens. We would have played, trained anywhere, a lamp, a light, a wall, both feet done us. Now it's, we give them so much. Even in our program, the program we set up, these kids get treated like senior internationals. And it's probably wrong, because again, quite hypocritical. We're going to build resilience. We need to put things in place that's going to help them, because they're going out of that group. Conor Farley in that 2001 group, young lad at Cliftonville, top player. I think he's going to be a top player too. if he gets the right opportunity, if he goes and he has that resilience to succeed, it always comes down to the individual.
You mentioned there that about your experience at Liverpool in 1990. You then left. Obviously, that's a big. You're probably living proof that rejection at a big club is only the beginning of a career.
Yeah.
You then went to Oxford. How did you deal with that rejection? How did it happen?
Badly. Yeah, because Kenny brought me in, and the reserves at that time. Again, listen, the reserve at that time played Saturday. He didn't play in the first team. He played in the reserve the Tuesday night, and the Tuesday night games were as competitive as championship games. Because everybody, if you were a first team player, you didn't play. So Moby played, Staunton, McManaman, Venison if he wasn't playing. Ray Howden, once he got established in the side, never played, but in his early days he played. So we were playing, and Liverpool, that brand at that stage, was everybody wanted to be. So the games were so competitive. But at that stage, I was captain. It was easy. I don't think I've ever been in that place since. I was flying, I was loving it. I was thinking, next step, first team. I'd come over an early wobble. It went away when I was 17 with the first team for 3 weeks. Came back, and for the next year and a half, they slaughtered me. And then I came out of that bubble, presented myself, got myself fit again, really flying fit, played in the game. Kenny came in one day and said, right, sorry, it's over, done.
No notice, no prior notice with conversation?
Nothing, done. You've done great, you're...
Not that great though.
No, he says, you're not good enough for us. No, so, and again, I went, no, done. He says, and by the way, we've accepted 100 grand from Oxford United, and away you go.
Right, so there's the difference. You had a club already in for you at that stage.
Yeah. I was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, you fell at a very soft landing then at that stage. And were they in for you? Were Oxford United watching Liverpool reserves at that stage? And that's where the offer came from?
Totally, and the guy that signed me is a guy now working at Sheffield Wednesday. Harry's still in the game, is beyond me, but he had watched me over 10 times and said, well, this is the guy. So Brian Horton was the manager, and again...
He was ex-Man City as well, wasn't he?
I was very, very lucky early on because he influenced a lot of what went on after that. So as soon as I came in, made me captain of the club, huge responsibility, and had 3 years there, probably stayed a year too long, but I had 3 years there and they were in the championship at that time, but it was huge. It was the first time, I remember Kenny took the book out, the fixtures, and said, right, you've got West Ham away, you've got whoever it was, Brighton at home, and he said, great fixtures. He says, now it's time to earn a living. Now it's time to be a footballer. He says, you've had your apprenticeship here, go and be a player. And it was brilliant. And I remember, Oxford,
right, you thought you were never going to be Oxford? None of us did either. Or Cambridge.
I was an educated boy. Anyway, so how do I get there? I don't know, board escort, how do I get there? And so you'll go here, there. So I cried the whole way there, and then woke up the next day and said, right, okay, let's go. And that was it. Basically, in 3 years, he went to Man City, promised to take me, didn't happen. Didn't speak to him for a while. And then opportunity then came. Always wanted to play in the Premier League. Played Leeds United in an FA Cup game. Strachan, McAllister, Speed. We played on the Saturday, drew 2 each, went to the Wednesday replay, beat them 3-2, managed to score the winner. Alan Ball was in the stand, said, right, sit down.
Yeah, it was 1.6 million then, which is a huge figure even now, but back then, was that 93, was that 94?
I have no idea.
It was 1983.
I'll have to go into my Wikipedia page. It was again, that was surreal because on the Wednesday night, it was the journey home from Leeds to Oxford was pretty rowdy, and we were pretty drunk. And Thursday morning, phone call, get yourself down to Southampton. By the way, we're playing Liverpool on Sky Sports Monday night.
You've come full circle now.
So full circle, and snowing. The Tissier scores a hat trick, brilliant night. But the thing about Liverpool and why they were always a class apart, in my opinion, was that their staff, the character of their staff, Ronnie Moran, Roy Evans, were waiting at the bottom of the stairs. It was a quirky wee ground in Dale. Wooden steps up in the change rooms, they were at the bottom of the steps. Lost 4-2, couldn't wait to shake my hand. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I haven't even thought about him. And
Do you want a hug?
no, definitely not from fucking you.
Mark Smith sitting down there, his arms wide open. How do you get me in the IFA, Jim? Talk to me, Jim.
So yeah, so I haven't. To be fair, you are the nearest to Parkinson I've ever been to.
Grey hair, is it? Grey hair? Yeah. I like Countdown as well. You were then, you've played with a lot of foreign players throughout your time. And obviously there's a language barrier there. How the fuck did English people understand
I
you?
don't know, no idea. And how did managers ever hand me an arm? It was incredible.
Were you good at sign language?
I was, yeah.
You and Graham McDowell didn't go to the same speech therapy classes, you didn't?
No. Come on, wind.
You obviously had, you clearly did have a few run-ins with foreign players in 2011, you were QPR manager.
Yeah.
19th of December, Wikipedia is absolutely amazing.
Right with it. Yeah.
And you're in the changing room at half-time, I believe, and Akis Pizaki.
Yeah.
You headbutted the man.
No.
Well, the reports say you headbutted him.
Let's be honest, if I headbutted him, anyone with a stage in my head, he'd still be in a coma.
Yes.
So no.
So what actually happened?
So what actually happened was we had a game on that Saturday against Middlesbrough. Gordon Strachan had just been appointed manager about a month before. They hadn't won a game. We were on this huge crest of a wave. We were winning games, winning them well, sitting fourth, I think, in the championship. And he comes with his Middlesbrough team. Before the game, he's thinking, if I lose today, that could be, I'm thinking, fucking good. So 6 shots, score 5. We have 37 shots and score 1. Lose the game 5-1. We then have a game on that Monday night. So that takes us out of the playoff positions. Briatore is obviously watching from above, high cloud.
Is he still there, sorry?
I don't know. We don't exchange pleasantries. No. So on the Monday we played Watford away, and cut a long story short, we lose the game. And then there was a heated conversation in the changing room afterwards. He was one of them. He ran out, and the press got wind of it. Then it started to gather a bit of momentum. But after every game, the Tuesday we have a debrief. So John Gorman was my assistant. Gianni Palladini was the acting chairman. He was the go-between, if you like, with Briatore and me. But bottom line was, no discussions, nothing really happened. There was a heated conversation. He wanted him out of the club anyway. I told him to relax. You know, it was 2 games, we've got a game in hand, we'll get back in. And on the back of that, my mum was seriously ill. So I was flying home that day on the Tuesday. But Briatore then rang and said he wanted an emergency meeting on the Wednesday night. Told him no chance, not going. Getting home, want to see my ma. End of. Tuesday night, fabricated story. That whole week I was suspended. They had a kangaroo court, decided that I wasn't the man. Actually, the very next day going back, they offered John Gorman the job. The next day John told him to go and stick it. They offered the job to the assistant. He told him to go and stick it. I was suspended, and then the LMA, Richard Benton, got involved in, and then that was it, history. So they'd already made up their mind, and I wasn't going to change my course of action either.
Yes, so you lost your job over, which reported was an incident in the changing room. Was it a heated discussion? Was there any push and shoving?
No.
Nothing?
No.
So who made it up? Where did it come from?
It was made up via Bazaki's agent. So Bazaki's agent, on the Tuesday morning, Bazaki's agent rang Palladini. Palladini put him on loudspeaker. John and I are listening to it. We're thinking, he's a joker. Palladini just told him to make sure that Bazaki would find another club. I intervened in the conversation, just said, listen, Akos isn't going anywhere, but we'll have a conversation about what happened in the changing room on on Thursday when I returned from Belfast. That was it.
When you were flying at Ipswich for 3 years, 2006, 2009, Laurie Sanchez lost his job at Northern Ireland. You reportedly were very close to taking the job, but then turned it down.
No, I didn't.
Did you ever come close to it?
No, never. Well, I interviewed for the job.
Capping your mate beat you at something?
Yeah, absolutely. Shite, actually. And I live with it every single day. Of course. But No, I always went on record as saying, like I again, very, very fortunate that at 37, I was coming up to 37 and retiring. Joe Royal had eased me into retirement very, very well. Brilliant manager.
I was at Ipswich.
At Ipswich, yeah. And then Joe had reached the end of the lane at Ipswich, and then I grasped the nettle. And I actually said to the chairman, would he, out of courtesy, put me through a whole interview process, knowing full well, massive club, great club, there would be loads of candidates for the job, but just for my own benefit and out of courtesy, would they put me through it? And he said yes. So I went through this whole interview process, eventually, incredibly, getting the job. So the 3.5 years I had there was tremendous, and it was just 10 years at a football club like Ipswich, where community-based, very traditional club, very traditional in terms of youth development, trying to get kids through. It's very much a strong point of that club. So I ended up going through this whole process, but when the Northern Ireland thing came up, I was very honest and still am about it. I didn't think in any way, shape or form I had the experience. I didn't have the experience to deal with senior players at that stage. In terms of how I was a captain and maybe running a changing room, it's totally different when you cross over that white lane and you're a manager. So I didn't feel that I was experienced enough at that level to manage Northern Ireland, and I was even to that point when I was interviewed again interviewed for the job, and Michael, on the back of what he'd done at Shamrock Rovers, jumped in.
Do you regret not being more vociferous trying to get the Northern Ireland job at that time? Now, obviously, football management's all about where your stock is. And I remember David O'Leary was over here previously for a Cliftonville event again, and telling us, and you can see the fall that he's had from being a manager to a pundit to not even on TV anymore. Do you regret not grasping that opportunity at the time?
No regrets, and I can honestly say that I have no regrets. Listen, I have had major cock-ups and major decisions. I look back but no regrets, because I've always been brutally honest, and
you've been brutal anyway.
Yeah, exactly, and that's pretty honest. So no, I didn't want to go down that route. There were probably certain journalists here who maybe thought that I was in the box seat, but I never felt that way. I always again just thought next step, never looking behind, never Wikipedia. It was always what next.
You're now under 21 manager.
No, I'm not.
Are you not?
No. Well,
somebody needs to update Wikipedia. Where were you? You're a lead performance manager, is that right?
Yeah, so that's basically trying to put a structure in place in Northern Ireland to cater for our young players. The 17 to 21 year olds largely are based in England, although there should be, I think we are thinking along those lines about trying to do something, develop something in Northern Ireland, because you can see there are a lot of talented boys in Northern Ireland who are actually playing for Irish League clubs. So your Jay Donnellys, your Levi's, your Gavin Whites, your Joe Coopers, your Shakesies, your Singletons, your Joel, your Marshalls, lads like that. And I was, again, love watching games, love being out there, love seeing them. They're all, playing at a level that some of the lads in England aren't.
Are you based here now, Jim?
Yeah.
So do you get to see more Irish League than previously?
Every week. So I go as many times as I can.
So how, is it nearly, you have to make a trip to see someone in England now?
Yeah.
And you go purposely to do that?
Yeah, there's a big sea between Northern Ireland and England.
Is there?
Yeah.
I haven't built a tunnel yet?
No.
It's a different country, I'm well aware. But I suppose that the question I was asking was, for those kids there at Irish League who are playing at Irish League first team level, do they now have as good an opportunity as they've ever had to progress internationally?
Yes and no. And the yes is, when you look at their minutes played, so if I'm picking an under 21 squad and I see these lads playing, some of them lads that are playing in the Irish League are quadruple the amount of time that, say, for example, a Liam Donnelly, who was at Dungan as a kid, who was probably heralded as one of the great white hopes for us. He has had a dip. He's lost his way a little bit. He went to Hartlepool now. He's trying to play regularly, but in a month, 5 weeks, he'll have played 90 minutes. Jay, whenever Jay decides he wants to turn up, would play 5 or 6 times in a month.
Not everybody knows about that.
No, well, let's keep it that way.
No, that's okay. You obviously, but it's great to hear from our point of view as Irish League fans that these players are getting an opportunity from you. I suppose to wrap up, you are now in the IFA and get your foot in the door, and it's always been jobs for the boys, so I'm glad to hear it's still that way. But now that you are in there, did you ever grow up supporting DC? Did you were based in Leonard?
Never.
Great, good to know. Could you now help us understand why the bastards won't let us win the Irish Cup? Because it's not us, we're doing everything we can. As somebody in the IFA, what can you do to help us move forward?
What would you like me to do?
I don't know, maybe change the referees. I always have a great.
You're not happy with the standard of referees?
Always have a great with referees.
Joe Royal had a great thing. So in England, the managers write a report on the referees after every game. So one referee who I didn't particularly like also. So I went into Joe's reports. I won't name the referee.
Why not?
Joe's opinion. He works at FIFA now.
Good point.
Fucking tell
Good point.
So Joe's report on this. Could not spot a foul in a hen house. and that summed this boy up.
That is. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Jim Magilton. Right, folks, we're going to do a quick draw of the ballots. So the green ticket is